Mike Lindell is a failed pillow salesman. He's going bankrupt because of litigation against him based on his false claims about our election process here in Kentucky and around the country as well.
Election conspiracy theorist Mike Lindell believes Wi-Fi monitoring devices can help detect and uncover election fraud. Secretary of State Michael Adams disagrees.
These are nothing more sophisticated than a cell phone. If you walk into a building and there's a Wi-Fi signal there, your cell phone will tell you because it wants to hook up to the Wi-Fi, right? That's all this is. It's something sophisticated, just like he's not sophisticated.
The Kenton County Board of Elections has already voted to disallow these detectors at polling locations. State statute says it is illegal to disrupt the election process or intimidate voters. A change in the law says that now includes any of the 15,000 workers it takes to make an election happen. Violators could face jail time.
You are allowed to bring your cell phone to the polls. You are allowed to take what's called a ballot selfie. You are allowed to take a picture of yourself with your ballot if you like. It's the First Amendment. You get to do that if you wish.
They're also working to shorten lines and make registration on Election Day go smoother and quicker, reducing the chance for fraud by clearing off voter rolls.
We've taken 350,000 voters off the rolls in 4 years. These are people that have moved away or passed away or have been put away. And by law, they should have come off our rolls many years ago.
In Frankfort, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.